Hello, I'm Marcus Boston. Quick video today, and we're going to talk about an important concept, or an important topic, I should say, and that topic is umbilical cord compression and HIE. I've done some videos on this in the past, but this is a question that has come back up, and it seems like individuals have questions about this specifically from a medical legal standpoint. So I'm going to get right into the video. I'm going to talk about it. All right, so the umbilical cord. Why is the umbilical cord so important? Reason being is because, as some writers have said in the past, the umbilical cord can be likened to the baby's lifeline. And that is important once you understand the role of the umbilical cord. It is responsible for a lot of things. It is responsible for helping the baby get oxygen. It's responsible for removing certain types of wastes and things of that nature. And with most umbilical cords, what we have is called a 3-cord vessel, and that's generally you will have 2 arteries which will be included in the umbilical cord, and then you will have a vein, and so that's normally called a 3-cord vessel. Now, like I said, that umbilical cord, it is really important, and what can happen is in the context of HIE is that as the baby goes through labor and delivery, certain things can happen which can cause the umbilical cord to become compressed. You can have a compression of the umbilical cord, and if the umbilical cord is compressed, that can then lead to the baby suffering certain types of injuries. It can be very harmful for a child when you have a compressed umbilical cord, and it goes on for a period of time and nothing is done to try to correct it. So there's another medical condition which you have to be on the lookout for when we're talking about a compressed umbilical cord, and that is what I said earlier, HIE, or hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. In this context for this video and what we're talking about today, hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy is a reduced level of blood and oxygen, which will then lead to a brain injury. And when I talked about that compression of the umbilical cord, remember that umbilical cord is sustaining the baby, and if you have that compression, if that occurs, then you can have a decreased level of blood and decreased level of oxygen that gets to the baby. You don't necessarily have to be a medical doctor, as I've always said in other videos, to understand that once you start having blood or oxygen issues for a baby or for a human, for an adult, for that matter, you're looking at possible problems and serious problems. So that is how umbilical cord compression, that's why it is a very serious condition, and that's why in some cases, if it goes on for too long, if it's not rectified, if it's not fixed, if it's not treated, then a baby can eventually suffer a brain injury in some instances, which is a serious injury, or if it goes on for too long, then the baby can actually die. So that is the purpose of today's video, to help you understand this concept from a medical legal standpoint. And that medical legal aspect of it is, what are the doctors doing? What do they see? Is this baby in fetal distress? Is that compressed umbilical cord, is it being noted on the electronic fetal heart monitor? Maybe there are problems with the readings on the monitor, and the question then becomes, what are the doctors and nurses, what are they doing? Have they properly diagnosed and noticed the fetal distress? And if they have not, then that means that there's going to be issues with treatment of the fetal distress. So I know I talked about a lot in this video, but the purpose of it is to try to help you understand how a compressed umbilical cord can be very dangerous for a baby, specifically if it's not noticed and nothing is done with the condition. If you have more questions for me, there is a telephone number that's down below. Go ahead and pick up the phone and give me a call. I speak with families all the time about these issues. This is what we do. We talk about issues with families like HIE, which is what we talked about a little bit today, CP, cerebral palsy, MAS, brachial plexus injuries, all sorts of birth trauma and birth injury related issues. That is what we do. One more thing before I leave, I want to make sure that you understand that I practice law here in the state of Maryland. And if you contact me and you're not in Maryland, you got to understand that we may have to use what we call co-counsel or local counsel, an attorney in your state, to help get the case going. All right, so just want to make sure that you understand that local counsel aspect of things. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth, injury, and medical malpractice attorneys practicing law here in the state of Maryland at Boston Law Group, LLC. And we will see you next time. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.